This film unfolds in a future where Earth faces a severe food shortage. To tackle this crisis, humans explore space and discover creatures that can help meet their food needs. These creatures drift in space, not on planets, near various solar systems. Humans start catching these space creatures akin to fishing on Earth, selling them at high prices. These creatures induce significant changes in human physiology, making them extremely valuable. Owners of spaceships embark on journeys into space to capture these creatures and bring them back to Earth to alleviate the food shortage. These creatures vary in size, ranging from small to large. The larger ones, known as clickers, are easier to catch. However, a particularly extraordinary creature exists, the Tianlong, colossal in size and steeped in Chinese mythology as the guardian of heaven's gates. No human has ever captured a Tianlong, as they reside in perilous regions of space where few dare to venture. Many dismiss the Tianlong as mere legend. The movie starts with two gigantic creatures in space, each as heavy as a ton. Suddenly, one of them is struck by a spear thrown by hunters from Earth who have ventured into the Hyperion constellation for this very purpose. The creature is so immense that it destroys their spaceship, causing the death of everyone aboard. The story then shifts forward 24 years into the future, where humans depend on these space creatures for sustenance. Numerous corporations now journey into space to capture these beings. We meet Lynn Navarro, a significant character who arrives near a restaurant using her flying stick. She faces a setback when a security guard blocks her entry, but she communicates with her team for further instructions. Lynn is employed by a secretive organization called ICE, tasked with combating illegal space hunters. Inside the restaurant, a negotiation is unfolding between Captain Richard and businessman Ahab. Ahab possesses a map of the Hyperion constellation, which marks the location of the elusive Tianlong, a creature that, if brought back to Earth, promises immense wealth. Richard, an adept captain, is keen on obtaining the map, while Ahab seeks half of the profits from any successful Tianlong hunt in return. However, before the deal can be sealed, the vigilant guard alerts his leader to being under surveillance and accuses Richard of treachery. A confrontation erupts between Ahab's associate and Richard, leading to a scuffle where Richard ingeniously inserts a small parasitic alien worm into Ahab's skull, driving him mad. In the chaos, Richard fights back and manages to escape with the precious map, narrowly saving his own life. 3 months later, Richard and his crew embark on a mission into space to hunt for clickers, small extraterrestrial creatures sought after for their value. Alongside Richard's younger brother Owen, the crew includes 5 other members: Hawthorne, an elder who was once a companion to Richard's father; Ragsland, a skilled female pilot; Stubniski, the ship's engineer; and Batali and Harpo, each with assigned roles. Unbeknownst to them, Lynn covertly joins the crew as a spy for ICE, gathering intelligence on everyone aboard. Their objective is to capture clickers and transport them back to Earth. Equipped with advanced hyperdrive technology, their spacecraft can travel at the speed of light, allowing them to reach distant solar systems within days. During the journey, Lynn learns about each crew member, uncovering their vulnerabilities and motivations. 24 years earlier, Richard's father ventured to the Hyperion constellation in search of a Tianlong, a legendary creature, but never returned, likely lost to its immense power. Richard held a deep affection for his father and had dreamt since childhood of continuing his father's quest to capture a Tianlong. However, he had not yet embarked on such a mission himself. After several days of travel, the crew departed from their base and, guided by the map, arrived at a location teeming with creatures akin to clickers. Harpo, Owen, and Hawthorne suited up in their advanced spacesuits, armed with a box and stones to attract the clickers. They successfully captured many in the box, though one managed to slip away. Owen gave chase, but suddenly a bright light flooded the area. Colliding with a rock, Owen lost consciousness from the unexpected glare. As the light dimmed, the Tianlong emerged, a creature of ancient legend, briefly observed by the crew before vanishing once more. Richard and the team swiftly rescued Owen, safely returning him to the ship. Later, Batali, their cook, prepared a meal while Lin wove an imaginative tale about the Tianlong. She described it as a guardian of celestial gates, existing in both light and shadow, cautioning against provoking it. Richard playfully teased her, urging her back to reality, insisting the Tianlong was merely an animal. With clickers captured and the crew eager to return home, Captain Richard hesitated, sensing the Tianlong's presence nearby. Meanwhile, Lin covertly sent a message to her team, unaware it was intercepted by bandits who swiftly located their position. Fearing for their safety, Captain Richard instructed Ragsland and Batali to conceal themselves within a secret compartment on the ship. Facing armed robbers, neither fleeing nor fighting was feasible. Thus, Richard decided on surrender, but with a hidden strategy. He discreetly planted a tracking device amidst their cargo, aiming to reclaim what was stolen, specifically the captured space creatures known as clickers. Later, a thief named Boomer infiltrated their ship. Richard opted not to confront him directly, while Lin, separated from the other women, became a target. Boomer, aware that Lin's earlier message had led them to the ship, harassed her and removed the tracking device, using it to accuse Richard of betrayal. The crew was devastated upon discovering this betrayal. The robbers looted the ship of all supplies and disabled its systems to prevent distress signals before departing. In the aftermath, Richard blamed Lin for their losses and ordered Harpo to arrest her. Stranded without provisions or captured creatures to return home with, their situation turned dire. The nearby Tianlong creature posed a greater challenge than the clickers, testing their resolve despite setbacks. Despite their predicament, Richard devised a new plan for his team. They had prepared for setbacks, believing that one successful attempt to capture the Tianlong could transform their fortunes with immense wealth upon its return to Earth. Stranded for months, their determination remained steadfast. Owen hesitated to pursue the creature, haunted by their father's death during a previous attempt. Motivated by vengeance, Richard questioned Owen's reluctance, attributing their father's demise to the creature itself. Owen's emotions ran deep. He harbored resentment toward their father for leaving their sick mother, which strained their relationship. Richard, feeling hurt by Owen's perspective, argued that Owen didn't fully grasp their father's motivations. The brothers were locked in a heated argument when suddenly, a valuable substance coated their spaceship. This substance, emanating from the Tianlong's body, brought them unexpected joy, outweighing their previous losses. Richard eagerly shared the news, prompting everyone to suit up and venture out to collect it. However, as they gathered the substance, the robbers launched another attack. With everyone except Richard outside retrieving the substance, he urgently called them back due to a malfunction in the hyperdrive that necessitated immediate departure. While everyone rushed back, Harpo lingered outside, determined to bring a clicker with him. As Richard prepared to leave without him, Engineer Stubnisky miraculously repaired the hyperdrive just in time for Harpo to board. Before Boomer and his men could destroy the ship, the hyperdrive activated, instantly transporting them to another part of space. Harpo angrily confronted the captain, accusing Richard of nearly abandoning him. Richard explained he had ordered everyone back, and Harpo had been delayed. Hawthorne intervened, ending the argument, revealing the robbers had lost their tracking beacon in the chaos, making it impossible to locate them. The crew faced a dilemma. They could have returned home, but their breach of rules meant Lin, the ice agent, remained aboard. Despite securing the valuable substance, they risked detection upon returning. Richard confronted Lin, questioning her presence and motives for spying on them. Meanwhile, Stubnisky, their engineer, was handling the clickers when he noticed a small alien parasite worm on his hand. In his attempt to remove it, the worm burrowed into his body, causing him great fear. Later, we see him desperately washing with scalding water in a futile attempt to kill the insects now infesting him. Unfortunately, they had begun laying eggs inside him, multiplying rapidly. During Richard's questioning of Lin, she revealed it had been her mission for years to monitor spacecraft hunting for creatures like Tianlong. Richard's father was the only known person to have ventured into the part of space where Tianlong was sighted, meeting his demise under mysterious circumstances. Lin held a deep reverence for Tianlong and its stories, passionately advocating for its protection. She warned Richard against harming the creature, vowing to thwart any attempts. Despite Lin's pleas, Richard remained driven by a fierce desire for revenge. Amidst these unfolding events, it emerged that Ragsland and Harpo shared a romantic relationship. When Batali, Harpo's wife, discovered their affair, she revealed she'd been pregnant for 3 months. Harpo initially had reservations about starting a family due to the challenges involved, but eventually he embraced the idea and focused on securing their future. In a bid to ensure their wealth, he also decided to steal the valuable substance they had found, intending to use it later. Lin remained confined on the ship, but after Richard departed, she somehow managed to escape. Harpo discovered her, leading to a physical confrontation. Lin momentarily incapacitated Harpo, but Stubnitsky's intervention distracted her, allowing Harpo to strike her unconscious with a blow to the head before securing her confinement once more. Harpo promptly informed Richard about the incident, revealing Lin's attempt to tamper with the ship's oxygen supply. After hours of travel, they arrived at the Hyperion star system. Stubnitsky, increasingly affected by the alien worms, inadvertently released the clickers from containment, raising suspicions among the crew. Hawthorne defended Harpo's integrity based on their 6 years of working together, but tensions persisted. During the chaos, a freed clicker moved to attack Lin. Richard intervened just in time, using cargo to eliminate the threat and save her life. Meanwhile, Owen continued to oppose Richard's determination to capture Tianlong, but Richard remained resolute. Suddenly, a burst of light resembling a wormhole appeared, through which Tianlong emerged. The area bore evidence of numerous failed capture attempts, illustrating its destructive power. Tianlong began attacking their ship, prompting Harpo and Owen to don their spacesuits in an effort to subdue the creature. Tragically, Owen sustained severe injuries during the encounter. Richard had the chance to save Owen, but Lin disabled the ship's systems, preventing any action. Despite Richard's frantic efforts, Owen succumbed to his injuries, leaving Richard devastated by his brother's death. With Owen's tragic passing and Tianlong disappearing through the wormhole, Richard was overwhelmed with grief. In his anguish, Richard lashed out at Lin for shutting down the ship's systems, knocking her unconscious. Hawthorne stepped in to comfort Richard, attempting to console him amidst the turmoil. When Lin regained consciousness, Richard confronted her, confessing he once had feelings for her, but now blamed her for Owen's death. Though Lin expressed genuine remorse and explained she only sought to protect Tianlong, not harm Owen, Richard's grief clouded his judgment. Despite his sorrow, Richard resolved to return home, but discovered Stubnitsky was missing. Unbeknownst to them, alien parasites had infested Stubnitsky, driving him to madness. Lin argued for eliminating him for everyone's safety, since the ship's weapons were seized by the robbers. Left with only an old sword, Richard entrusted it to Lin for defense. On board the ship, Lin urgently searched for Stubnitsky, now completely overtaken by the alien parasites and posing a serious threat. When she finally found him, a violent struggle ensued, during which Lin managed to sever his hand. Despite her efforts, Stubnitsky broke free and escaped. Meanwhile, Harpo finalized his escape plan, intending to abandon everyone else on the ship, including his wife. While Ragsland was showering, Stubnitsky, fully consumed by the alien parasites, fatally attacked her, and then Batali. Lin arrived just in time to witness the tragic scene and swiftly used a sword to incapacitate Stubnitsky. In the airlock, Harpo clashed with Hawthorne over his selfish plan, leading to a deadly confrontation that resulted in Harpo's death. As their ship faced another assault from the monstrous creature, Richard, driven by vengeance for his brother and father, suited up and confronted it alone. Despite his bravery, Richard fell in the battle against the creature. With the ship on the verge of destruction, Lin secured herself in the escape pod, which detached just before the ship was destroyed. Hawthorne, now the lone survivor, witnessed the deaths of all his comrades as the ship was obliterated. Just as a wormhole reopened, both the creature and Lin disappeared from sight. Hawthorne, trapped in his suit with dwindling oxygen, faced his inevitable fate, marking a tragic end for everyone involved. Months later, another spaceship embarked on a mission to locate their lost crewmates. Unexpectedly, a wormhole emerged, ejecting Lin's escape pod. Lin, who had always fought to protect Tianlong, emerged as the sole survivor of the ill-fated expedition.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.